Shall we start?
Yeah, we can start. Yeah.
All right. Hi, everyone. Good evening to all of you. Thank you so much for joining in today to this very interesting session on how to use AI or AI tools for teacher development. I am Dheeraj Trakru. I am the founding director of Knotral Training as well as India Market Entry. And this session is powered by Edthena, a US-based organization dedicated for teacher development and focused on improving instructional coaching. In today's session, we are going to talk about Edthena, a bit of a background on Edthena, and we are also going to talk about the AI teacher trainer as a tool or an AI coach as a tool. In today's session, we have also Mr. Mohamed Faisal, who has joined in all the way from south of India for taking us through this training and showcasing how the platform works and how can you utilize it better to improve your teaching instructions in the classroom. This is a patented product that we are going to be showcasing today in this session. And towards the end, we will be happy to offer some of you educators, school leaders, resellers, distributors, whoever are joining in, special free offering as well. Whoever is joining this session. I would encourage everyone to ask questions in the chat whenever it pops up. Please do put it in the chat. We have our team here who will be able to answer those questions right in the chat. Also, we have a dedicated time slot toward the end of the session for Q&A. So I would request everyone to please stick around and do ask those questions and interact with us directly. And we'll be very happy to answer. This session, our attempt is to make it as engaging as possible. So we will have a couple of polls that will pop up. Trainer will also ask questions and we'll have activities for you to perform. So I would request everyone to please pay attention and contribute meaningfully to this session for the best outcomes possible. Without further ado, I would like to quickly start with the presentation that I had built for this session especially. Right. So as we speak about Edthena, as we speak about AI-powered teacher development, what we are going to see today, a platform that is just been named as by the Times Magazine, the best invention of 2025. Only 5 education companies globally receive such recognition, and Edthena is one of them. And that is focused on teacher development and teacher training. Most importantly, this platform essentially supports the NCERT's vision for teaching excellence and aligns perfectly with NEP's 2020 requirements of 50 hours of continuous professional development every year. Edthena is a trusted global brand with presence in US, UK, Australia, Japan, Sri Lanka, Bulgaria, Greece, and many, many such countries, including India. So before we actually talk more about Edthena in general and the AI Coach product, I would love to have your insights on yourself. So where do you currently work with the school as? You currently work as a teacher, educator, school consultant, academic advisor, edtech reseller, teacher training, professional development provider, or a school leader. I'd request everyone to please contribute to this poll as we want to make it as engaging as possible. We would love to see people contributing here. I'm sure you would relate to at least one of these role, and I would request everyone to please contribute. Yeah, I can see about 40% people have already contributed. I would request rest of them also to please contribute. We see a lot of teachers in this session. Great, welcome to this session. Thank you so much for taking an effort. This goes to show that how interested are you to developing your own teaching skills and using new age tools to enable that. Thank you so much for joining in. It's always a pleasure to have educators across the country joining our sessions. All right, super. So I will end the poll here. We see a lot of teachers who have joined in today. Great. Thank you so much for joining in. All right. Edthena is a US-based teacher development company. It was founded in 2011 by Adam Geller. Adam Geller himself is a former classroom teacher who understands the real challenges the teachers face. For about 15 years, Edthena has been focused on only one thing: helping teachers improve their classroom practice. They have been trusted by schools, universities, and even state government and nationwide rollouts globally. But what really sets them apart is that their research-led classroom-first approach. This isn't a Silicon Valley typical startup that built technology first and tried to fit the education later. This was actually built by teachers for teachers. Let's look at the credentials on the screen. You can see at the bottom of the screen, there are a lot of icons and a lot of credentials there. This company has been backed by Gates Foundation. It has won EdTech Breakthrough Award in 2025, Smart Brief Innovation Award, Times Best Innovation Award, World Economic Forum has endorsed it, and OECD has recognized it. It is FERPA compliant and student privacy pledge certificate. So it's basically top-notch compliance in terms of data privacy, so on and so forth. The platform actually was validated by researchers at the University of Virginia. Like I said, this isn't just a tech product. It is actually grounded in solid academic research. And research shows that AI-based coaching or teacher training can be as effective as human coaching for the goal achievement. And this is published research. Before we move on talking more about AI coach and what is AI teacher trainer, this is a big question that would love to understand from you. What is the biggest challenge that you face when it comes to teacher training? So poll will just pop up in front of your screen. So what is the biggest challenge you see in teacher development today? Training is mostly theoretical, not classroom-based, limited opportunities for observation and reflection, lack of schools' involvement in such programs, difficulty measuring real improvement in teaching, or very high cost involved in such workshops. I'm sure you would at least face one of them, if not all of them. So I'd request all of you to please contribute to this poll. This will only help us to customize our session going forward. I'd request you to please engage with us, engage with the poll, be present, and answer this question. It's a simple question. No answer is right or wrong. What is the biggest challenge that you see in teacher development today? And this could be very contextual to everyone. So please choose whatever makes sense to you yourself. So I request everyone, please contribute. I can see some of them have contributed to this already. So we're seeing almost equal results for training is mostly theoretical, not classroom based. We see limited opportunities for observation reflection. We see difficulty measuring real improvements in teaching. Okay. High costs as one of the ones. So training is mostly theoretical is leading at the moment. I would request everyone, please contribute to this poll. This will make it very meaningful for all of us. All right, superb. So I'll move on. I'll share the results and I'll move on. It's pretty much non-conclusive, but seems to be a lot of challenges. Same challenges that we have observed worldwide. All right, so what is exactly this AI coach, AI teacher trainer? AI coach is a video-based teacher development platform that helps teachers to improve their real classroom teaching. Let's break it down. First, the teacher reflects on their own lessons. They record a 10 to 15 minute of their actual classroom teaching on their phone or a laptop. Nothing fancy is required. You don't need like an additional device. Then second, AI guides the entire process. So the AI guides observation, reflection, and even action planning. It's exactly like, having a personal instructional coach available to you 24/7. Number three, it's about continuous improvement. So through short coaching cycles, teachers can actually get better, not through theory, but actual practice. Right? Number four, it works universally. So it works cross subjects, standards, boards, all of them. So whether it is CBSE, State Board, ICSC, IB, Cambridge, doesn't really matter. It across all subjects, all boards. I mean, let me share some numbers that demonstrate the scale at which currently AI coach or AI teacher trainer has achieved. More than 5 million minutes of classroom video has been processed on the platform. Over 400,000 professional development conversations have happened. We have also received a patent. As you can see on the right-hand side corner, it's a US patent number is also given. And to be very honest, when we won the Best Innovation Award by the Times Magazine, what actually Times said was that this platform helps teachers grow their instructional practice by guiding structured self-reflection on classroom videos of their teaching in action. So the magic isn't just the technology alone, it's actually the coaching process. So let me show you what is the coaching process in brief. The AI coach platform uses proven 4-phase coaching cycle. Each cycle takes approximately 2 hours and can be completed. Actually, you can complete it at your own pace. So you did 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there, 30 minutes there, and you're able to complete that cycle. And the first phase is analyze, where the teacher uploads the short classroom video for self-observation. This is not about being judged, right? This is all done in a very private space. As we talked about compliance, privacy, US compliance is top-notch. So it's all done in a private space. Nobody's watching your video. Even the company itself cannot watch these videos. Right? They cannot go into your chat and get these videos at all. It's just you. It's the teacher that can see it. And the AI's role here is very powerful. It identifies the key teaching moments and provides guidance for self-observation, and at the same time, it can also give you quick feedback. So it gives you quick feedback as an overall video. What do they see based on the goal that you have set? So you can think of this like an expert coach. They says that, hey, let's look at that 7-minute mark. Something interesting happened there. Let's observe. So it will give you that guidance. Phase 2 is reflect. Basis on a teacher's analysis, a teacher develops a goal-oriented improvement plan there itself within the platform, and the AI provides the reflection prompts to guide your thinking. I mean, it's like, what did you notice about let's say, how the student responded to your question, for example, in the classroom? What would you do differently next time if you had to do differently? Phase 3 is enact. This is straightforward. Teachers basically select a specific strategy to implement in their classroom, and AI basically supplies curated resources from the web, from the internet, from internal databases, and provides video examples, practical tips, and also helps you to track the objectives. Number 4, impact. Okay, that's the fourth phase. It's the impact. After implementing, teachers document their results and complete the reflection log. The AI actually supports them in identifying the impact of their changes and planning for the future growth. And the cycle repeats itself. The beauty is each complete cycle counts as a 2-hour professional development. Right. Moving forward, you guys must be thinking, okay, this all sounds amazing. Is there research behind it? The answer is yes. As you can see on the screen, these are all the research that support what AI coach and AI teacher trainer does. And this is basically to validate the process, to guide the process to be systematic. You can see all of the research base, and we'll be happy to share post this session also and talk about the research bases as well. You can find it on the website also. So the next question is, okay, what skills can a teacher actually develop using AI coach? There are 3 sections of skills that you can see on the screen. One is basically the core teaching skills. This is like classroom management techniques, student engagement techniques, questioning, probing techniques, building student-teacher relationship, checking for understanding, so on and so forth. Then there is science of reading foundation, that's literacy, phonological sensitivity, phonemic awareness, and writing, so on and so forth. And then there is science of reading, growth, and application. So that's for more advanced age groups. Let's be honest, the opportunity is significant. We can bring global research-backed teachings and best teaching practices to Indian classroom at scale, consistently, measurably. And this isn't about just importing like a Western methodology blindly. It's about giving teachers in India the access to the same professional development tools that the teachers in the world's best education system use. Now, before I hand over the demo, I would like to introduce Mohamed Faisal Al Hasan. He's an experienced education leader with extensive experience in teacher development, instructional improvement, and education leadership. He's the founder of CREL, Center for Research in Education and Leadership, an organization that is focused on advancing teacher practice through research-informed methods. He's also a Cambridge International Center for teacher and learning program leader. He supports teachers in their growth and instructional excellence across Cambridge schools. What actually makes Faisal particularly valuable for today's session is that He's actually used AI Coach and provided detailed feedback on how it works in the Indian context. He understands both global best practices and is grounded in the realities of uh, Indian classroom. So, without further ado, let me hand this over to Faisal to give you a live demonstration. Over to you, Faisal.
Thank you, Dheeraj. Hope I'm audible, and thank you all the teachers and leaders for joining the session. Let me share the screen. Fine. So, yep. Here we go. Hope the screen is visible.
Yes, Faisal, we can see it.
Okay. So how we'll go about this session is that obviously, as Dheeraj had mentioned earlier, that I'll be raising a few questions, and in the chat box, you can respond for the queries that is raised. Feel free to answer the questions, right? So let me just begin. So I'm just sharing with you a scenario here, which is a typical classroom scenario in the Indian context. What you need to do is that you have to read that scenario and tell me in what ways the teacher could have handled or ensured that the class was effective, right? So there's a scenario here which is projected. You have to tell me in the chat box in what ways the teacher could have ensured that the class was effective. So let me just read it out for you. A grade 8 teacher starts a lesson, and the topic is on agriculture in India. She begins reading and explaining from the textbook. She does not write or explain what students are expected to learn. Students underline important lines as she speaks. Only a few students answer questions while many sit quietly. Let me repeat that again. Only a few students answer questions while many sit quietly. Some students at the back start talking, right? Something which is a regular classroom scenario. Some students at the back start talking. And after a couple of months or so, you have a class test, and the parents state that students were able to remember the definitions but cannot answer application questions. Right? The students are able to write the definitions, but they are not able to apply what they have learned. Right? This might be sounding familiar. So, in what ways the teacher would have ensured that the class was effective? So, you have the chat box. Feel free to type your response. Time starts now. We're not looking for right or wrong answer. Feel free to use the chat box. Typical classroom scenario in the Indian context.
I request everyone, please contribute.
Yeah.
You can see the scenario right in front of the screen and the question at the bottom. So I request you to answer the question in the chat, please.
Okay. So the teacher is explaining. Students at the back are not responding. At the end of the month or so, the parents complain. Any response? I'd like to see some response. Okay, teacher can start the class with warm-up activity. Good. Great. Let me just wait for a few more minutes. It has to be two-way communication, question and answer format for any topic which is being taught. Two-way, very good, excellent. Harsh, thank you for sharing. Teacher should have paid attention. Yes, Simran. I think the students at the back should conduct the class where VAK learners feel included. Okay, thank you for sharing your opinion, Nabida. Okay, good. Now let me just move on. Thank you all for sharing your opinions. Let us just move on to the next slide. Here. Yeah. Fine. So let us just try to understand the situation which I had shared earlier. So this was the situation or the scenario. As you could see, so if I break down the situation or the scenario, the teacher begins reading and explaining from the textbook. So there was not much active learning there. So she then goes on to write or explain what students are expected to learn. Right? She does not, as a matter of fact, write or explain what the students are supposed to learn, which means learning objective was not stated. What is the objective for the class? It was not stated by the teacher right at the beginning. Students underline important lines as she speaks. Only a few students answer questions while many sit quietly. Again, no active learning. Students were passively engaged. Finally, some students at the back start talking, which is lack of classroom management strategies. And I was able to see earlier from one of the message that was shared in the chat box. One of the teacher had raised the question about the classroom strategies. So I would ask the teacher to read the book, The First Days of School from Wong. And that's one recommendation I would make at this point in time. I cannot get into the details of it. But as you could see, these are the scenarios that are taking place in the class. And these are the issues that is something which is recurring in almost all the schools in India and elsewhere across the world as well. Right? So now that is the context. And this is something which a coach has certain aspects in it, or the cycle rather, which helps the teacher to reflect and work on it so that her performance improves. Now the next one is, I'm just trying to grab your attention to this aspect of it. In 2006 and 7, McKinsey and Company, which is a top consulting firm, what they did is that they did a research in 2006 and 7 trying to find out how the best performing school systems come out on top. They want to understand how the best school performs. And by the end of their research, they came up with just 3 points. They just came up with 3 points. And if these 3 points are done perfectly, they came to a conclusion that the schools will perform well and they will definitely come out on top. And as you could see here, I have given 6 points and not 3. Now what I would like you to do is that guess and tell me what are the 3 points or conclusions they would have made at the end of the research. Right? Is it 1, 2, 3 or 3, 4, 5 or 4, 5, 6? You can put that in the chat box, please. They came up with 3 conclusions, just 3 points. And if these 3 points are taken care of, the school will function effectively. Right? The time starts now. Respond in the chat box. Is it 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5? Just 3 points. I'm waiting for people to respond. Okay, I think I've got a few response. 2 and 6. 1, 2, 6. Okay, almost close. 2, 3, 6. Okay, good. 2, 3, 6. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Lakshmi. Thank you, Mr. Sandeep. Okay, Ms. Simran, 1, 6, 2. Okay, fine. 14, 2, 6. Fine. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your response. Now let us just try to understand what are the 3 significant aspects that they understood. If the school is performing well on, the school would do a good job. So these are 3 aspects. It's 1, 2, and 3. Right? An education system is only as good as its teachers. Student improves when the teaching improves. A school performs well when every child succeeds. So these are the 3 points that they came across, or their conclusions were when they did the research in the year 2006 and 7. The other 3 doesn't mean that they are not relevant, but given the fact that if the first 3 are taken care of, other will be also likely to be taken care of in a better way, because someone might be a parent here as well. At the end of the day, if the school is not able to educate your son or daughter in the way that you had expected, then there is no point in having an air-conditioned room in the classroom, right? So those are the points that the McKinsey and Company came up with, and these are 3 valid points. And for this purpose, training the teachers is such an important aspect, right? And what schools in India does is, like, most often, the beginning of the academic year, there's a training that's conducted most often in most of the schools. And then after that, the training falls flat, and very rarely do any training sessions happen in between, right? So that's something which is not a good practice. And tools like Edthena actually solves this problem, where the teacher are themselves in the driving seat, where they evaluate their own performance, reflect on it, and try to work on themselves. With that in mind, let me just take across a few things. Now, as you can see, this is one of the aspects in Japan where they happen to learn on their own, where the teacher designs lesson plan as a team, they implement, they learn together, right? It's actually an image. This is not an AI generated image. It's the real one, right? Now the coach, I'm not going to go into all the aspects of the AI coach, because as Mr. Dheeraj said, it approximately takes around 1.5 to 2 hours, but I'll show you a glimpse of it as to how it works. So in the beginning of the page, you will have, when you log in, you'll have this AI coach. When you type the URL in the specific space, you'll get this page where you will be able to log in using your Google credentials. If you have a school email ID, that's again something which can be used. AI coach using Google. And then you have the other pages which comes up, right? Coaching cycle, then report and certificate. The major aspects of the course, you'll have a short briefing on that right at the beginning. And then you have the 4 stages which begins, right? So guess and tell me, like, which are the stages? What are the numbers? I've given here as impact, reflect, enact, and analyze. Dheeraj already mentioned about the different stages, beginning from what is that, and it ends there. So I've just mixed it up here. Does it begin with reflect, impact, analyze? Anybody? The 4 stages, what does it begin from? Okay. Let me just move on. Let me just share the answers. So it goes in this manner: analyze, reflect, enact, and impact, right? These are the 4 stages in the cycle, right? So with that in mind, let me just take you across to the platform. Okay. Here we go. Yes, fine. So this is how the platform looks. As you can see, this is the page where you're giving in your input. So what happens is that, as I earlier mentioned, we'll be uploading the video, which might be 10 or 15 minutes video. In this case, there's a default video that was already available. So I'm going to use that video. And as you could see, it has been uploaded here, where the teacher is.
I think we have lost Faisal there. The net problems. But I think what Faisal was trying to highlight is that the platform actually intuitively understands where in the video you should actually focus on, what parts of your classroom teaching you should focus on and observe and reflect. And he was going to talk about the next phases within it. Let's give him a minute. He should be able to join in. Just a second. Sometimes there's technical issues, we cannot do anything with it. He's trying to join in back. Just give him a minute. Meanwhile, what we would really try to understand is that, how currently you are using AI as well. So, I mean, as educators, I'm sure all of you have invested time and effort in understanding AI. I'm sure you all use some sort of AI and tools already. Have you come across any other similar tool that you have used? Sorry, this is causing an inconvenience. He's just trying to get in back. This is completely a technical challenge he's facing at his end. Something completely out of our control. Should be joining in any moment now. As we speak, he's trying to get in. Okay, he's here. He's here. Faisal is here. Yes, we're back.
Sorry about that. Okay. Let me just share the screen again. Okay. As you can see, this is how the platform looks. You have the video, and then you have by the side the reflection log. I'll take you across the reflection log as such after a few minutes. Now, here, as you could see the video, there are two aspects. One is the strength, the other one is the note. Strength is the part where you will talk about the strengths of this class, and the note is the part where you'll talk about the challenge or the areas you think you like to work on. So assuming that this is the video that you have uploaded of yourself teaching the class, let me just give you an example. So for instance, if I want to talk about strength, I'll click on this. Now you have these three options that pops up. Check for student understanding, clearly presenting and explaining content, student teacher talk ratio. Now these are the three things that I have earlier selected. I want to improve on these three aspects. And what Edthena AI Coach does is that it gives me a list of options to choose from. From that, I've actually chosen the three, right? Now, as I could see, I've actually chosen at this point, and I believe that that's the strength. And I'm clicking on strength. I'm just clicking on checking for student understanding. Then I'm typing here, I provided right, a format to assessment to check for understanding, right? Now, this is something which I've actually given there, and I felt that that's a strength. Because of that reason, I've given this right at the space, right? Okay. So once it is done, I'm just going to click on done. So that's it. Okay. I've given that there, as you could see. So that comment would have come here, right? So the other points here, which you could see in blue, are the ones which the AI actually generated by itself. So it'll give you certain prompts here to check how well you've performed. So as you can see, what might happen if you pause to check for student understanding as new possibilities for the break in are introduced. So A had provided certain parts in the lesson where it gives you certain prompts for you to think and reflect, right? So, and as I did this, so you have this note, I've given 2 challenges and that's already been given. And then as you see, it goes on like that. So this was the classic. And then I go to the reflection log as well. Right? So here again, these are the area where you could see whatever I've given will be coming. And as the cycle moves on from the stage 1 to the last stage, impact. So whatever I capture or type will be captured in the reflection log. Just click on OK. Right. So you have to go to the side, right side where it's actually the AI which gives you specific prompts.
Sorry, I think this is unfortunately technical challenges that he's facing. Not sure what is happening at his end. I think in next 1 minute or two, we should be able to complete the session. Faisal is back. Yes, absolutely, I agree. Hey, Faisal, I think having internet troubles today.
I think so. Like I'm not exactly sure, but let me just try to wrap it up as soon as possible. Right. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think a summary of what we have just gone through, and then with the ending notes, that will be great if we can do
Yeah,
that.
fine.
Please, yeah.
Yep. So this is how it looks, as I mentioned earlier. So I can choose 3 goals, right? So you have these options there, like I want to work on uh, lessening the teacher talk time. I want to incorporate more active learning strategies. So these options I can take in. Once I click on that, it'll go to this stage, analyze stage. As I showed, the video will be uploaded. I can upload the videos, and the AI also will give the inputs here in terms of what are the areas that it had detected that I can work on, right? And it goes on like that. So these are the 4 stages in a class. So you'll have these sort of questions that will pop up. So in the reflect stage, what would you like to change is the question that the chatbot will ask, and where you will provide the response. If you want to work on, let us say, providing better format to assessment or creating learning objectives for the students, that's something which you can give there. And then your plan to enact. What kind of action plan would you suggest? Right? What kind of specific strategy do you have to incorporate these things? So you'll ask for that. And here again in the plan of action, you'll Edthena, what it has is that it has a repository of resources in it, right? Which can be used for you to adopt a specific strategy, right? So if it is about classroom management, it gives you certain strategies. If it is about active learning strategies or differentiation or in making the class inclusive, it gives you those strategies in the form of a website which has been curated by Edthena, right? And finally is the implement stage, where after you have identified what change you want to take up and what plan of action you want to enact, and then finally you are going to implement in the classroom, and after implementing it, you will have to produce this or come back to the platform to share in what way you did that and what kind of evidence do you have for that, right? These are the 4 stages in a crux that Edthena does, and it is completely driven by the teachers, right? And as you could see, just before the enact stage, you'll be given a break, and as a matter of fact, you could stop at any point in time in the cycle, right? And more specifically, before impact, enact stage is where you will have the time to implement in the classroom and again come back to complete the cycle, right? As you could see, you have the dates that you can choose, and the AI also gives you certain prompts. If you're not familiar with the language that it gives you the prompts and helps you in order to type as well, right? The reflection log, as I've shown earlier, it'll have all the notes in it. Whatever you have typed right from the inception of the cycle till the cycle ends, this will be all captured. And finally, you'll also receive a certificate of completion saying that you have completed one teaching cycle, right? And what Edthena does is that, as you could see from the cycle, in the regular classroom, you will have the cycle. Each observation is done by your mentor or HOD or the coordinator, principal, anybody for that matter. And then you will have the feedback that is given, and then the teacher implements again, right? So this cycle happens again and again in a regular class. But the problem here is that people don't have time to do or work on the cycle, right? First one is need to have the resources, and if the HOD is coming to observe the class, they should be available themselves. And top of that, when it comes for giving the feedback, again, time is a major factor. Then implementation. So it has the cycle, which is practically speaking highly challenging in a regular classroom scenario. Okay, now what Edthena does is that, as you could see here, it breaks that cycle. It gets completed within 2 steps. So the teacher teaches, uploads the video, and the teacher self-evaluates themselves, right? So this is one area where the teacher can feel free to work on themselves. So we have the teachers like who might have that fear if someone is coming to observe their class, they might overdo or undo. In order to reduce that fear, this is something which is highly beneficial for the teachers and as well as for the institution. As I was able to see earlier, a few of the leaders had also turned up for the session. It will be beneficial for the institution in the long run, right? And if you look at the countries, like how do they perform the professional development program? Singapore, for instance, approximately provides around 100 hours per year. That is the time that or the duration that they provide for the professional development. Australia, similarly, 100 hours. United States varies between state, right? You have 60 hours to 150 hours. Now CBSE is mandated approximately 50 hours for professional development program, right? And these countries are performing well, especially Singapore. They perform well because of the continuous professional development program, which is mandated by CBSE, right? So Edthena, as a matter of fact, helps in a way where the teacher can self-evaluate and reflect and work to improve their performance, right? As mentioned earlier, if these three things, if this is taken care of, what McKinsey and company had stated earlier, all the 3 points will be taken care of. Need to have quality teacher and quality instruction. By doing this, the 40-minute duration that the class teacher spends in the class, the efficiency of which will be improved drastically. So let me just give you an example. In the scenario that we had seen earlier, we were able to see that the teacher did not give the learning objective. If I have to give a simple learning objective, let us say for grade 1, right, which is the students by the end of the class should be able to identify the difference between wild and domestic animals. Now that's a learning objective. Most often the teachers fail to do that, right? Which is by the end of the class, the student should be able to identify the difference between the wild and domestic animals. And if that is stated right at the beginning of the class, research states that the student's performance will increase by 27%. That's the figure that we have, just by stating that. But unfortunately, in the Indian context, there are schools where teachers are not able to explicitly create the learning objective, nor are they able to explain that to the students, right? With that in mind, if this cycle is done in a manner which is expected, the school's performance can be seen in terms of like improvement. And with that, right, I'll also talk about certain ways in which you can implement this. So it is highly helpful for micro teaching, right, where you have a newcomer and you want to train the person. You have micro teaching, for which this tool is highly helpful. Whole class observation, right, that again is helpful to train new recruits. And if you talk about when can we implement this, you'll have PD Saturdays, professional development program on Saturdays, and that's an ample, like what's the right time where the teachers can work on the cycle, right? There are approximately 6 to 8 cycles per year per teacher, will help the teachers to make progress. And these are the areas where you can find this tool to be really helpful. As you can see, micro teaching, PD Saturdays especially. The school has mandated PD Saturdays. That's an area where this tool can be used. With that, I think I'll give it back to Dheeraj. Dheeraj, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Faisal. All right, so thank you so much for doing the session, and would love to entertain all questions from everyone. Please feel free to put them in the chat. Before we actually dive into answering those questions, I would request everyone to still put those questions there. I would like to do a quick final 1 or 2 slides just to talk about and summarize what Faisal just showcased there. So let me break down the benefits basically for the different stakeholders that we're talking about. So let's say for teachers, it's personalized coaching, right? It's protected environment. Nobody's looking at your videos. It's not going outside of the platform anywhere. Guaranteed. Nobody's going to see what are you doing in the classroom. So that's 100% private reflection time. It's just you and the AI coach that is working together. It's self-paced, right? Whenever you're available, whenever you have that 15 minutes, whenever you have that 30 minutes, whenever you have that 10 minutes to give, you continue the cycle. You can pause the cycle wherever you want to, and you can continue doing that. For schools, why is it great? Because you are able to get across all teachers, across all standards, across all subjects, consistent teaching quality. You don't need to disrupt the timetable. You don't have to create for the workshops, you'll have to create like separate sessions, separate dedicated 3, 4, 6, 8 hours of training program. You don't have to do all of those things. This can be done within the timetable. There is no infrastructure cost as well. It just works with the existing devices. everything is done within the same devices that you have. Any phone, any tablet, any laptop that you're already using, it just seamlessly works with that. So you don't have to invest anything in infrastructure as such. And um, this is, I mean, so there is classroom impact evidence when you're in the coaching cycle. It's not just, that they attended the training session. You get real impact insights of what actually happened in the class. What did they implement? How did they implement it? And what change and outcome they were able to see? So this is not just, okay, I attended 6 hours of training. I sat for 8 hours of training. I got a certificate just doing this webinar. It's not that. It's actual real impact and outcome driven tool. So which is essential for the school because school is investing their, the investment, right? So they're investing the money there to upskill the teachers. They want to see impact in the classroom rather than, just number of hours that the teacher has spent doing it. So that's where essentially, the value proposition is for AI coach and AI teacher training, and also for resellers and consultants alike. If you're consulting schools, if you're professional development, service provider to schools, you're doing that. It's a simple product, right? So you don't have to have inventory. There is no logistics. There is no annual. I mean, this simple annual subscription model. It's very easy to demonstrate. Do a pilot for free. Give them a cycle. Let them use it themselves. Give them a sort of idea of how to use the tool once. Very intuitive platform, as you can see. It has closed-ended questions. It asks. It's not open-ended. The teachers cannot waver from the set topic itself. So it's very focused on professional development itself. So this will have a very high repeat value renewal potential as well. So if you're a consultant, if you're a reseller, a distributor, then this is a perfect product for you. And of course, it's admin, IT friendly. It's fully web based. There's no installation required. There's no application that you have to install separately. Works with any devices. Very simple onboarding. You have an onboarding documentation. You have a demonstration within the platform itself that you can do once and understand exactly what you need to do. So very seamless process. And so let's talk about pricing, right? Pricing currently it is priced at 4,999 per teacher. Just imagine this to be a cost of 20 hours of training, 30 hours of training. How many hours that you can spend on training? Literally, you can generate those certificates. Every professional development cycle is 2 hours, right? Essentially, it takes about 2 hours for you to work through that cycle. And that can be done in your free times. It's not that you're stuck to that system for 2 hours. You can do it anytime you want, pause it, pick it up whenever you want. That's the beauty of this. It's continuous development. It is personalized. It is individualized. It is focused on what aspects of teaching you want to improve, not just broad generic all aspects. So that's very, very focused, personalized, and you get a certificate of completion towards the end of every cycle with a full-fledged report on impact that you were able to deliver because of this tool, because of the coaching that you have got, which is brilliant. It's the outcome specific. This is the cost. Of course, if you're looking for school-wide implementation, if you're a reseller, you're looking for multiple school implementation, we can definitely talk about how we can work with you and what would be the best way to price this for your target audience. We'll be happy to have that chat with you. And along with the pricing, you should also understand that it's not that we are giving you the tool and that's it. We're giving you comprehensive support. We'll give your teachers platform training. We'll make sure each one of them understand how AI coach works, and we'll demonstrate it as well. And we'll give demo, pilot, setup support as well. We will provide school onboarding assistance for resellers and distributors. We have a lot of marketing collaterals also, which are already developed, proposal, pitch templates to enable that marketing and sales journey that you have. So we'll be helping you locally here in India as Knotral or as India Market Entry. We will support that journey with you. So if you like what you saw, if you are interested to even demo it, test it for yourself. We are giving away one free cycle today. So I would that's for the school leaders, for teachers, resellers who are considering this platform, who want to test it and see how it works. We'll give you one free cycle of professional development if you show interest in this product. So if you're interested in this product, you want to explore it further, happy to set that up. I would request each one of you who are interested to please click on the link in the chat, or even you can scan this QR code that is reflecting on the screen, and just lock in your interest. And somebody from our team will get in touch with you, do a personalized demonstration for you, answer the questions that you have, and enable you with that one cycle. It'll enable you with that one cycle. So the first step is to actually go on the chat, click on the link, and register your interest, or scan this QR code and register your interest in this in Edthena AI Coach AI training platform. And we'll be happy to set up that 1:1 chat, showcase you the platform for your perspective, answer any questions you have. And at the same time, we will assign that one free cycle to you within that 1:1 discussion. So it'll be lovely to see you, fill in that form, and we'll be able to take you through that journey. If you're looking for certification, so yes, the certification is through that one free PD cycle. You complete that one free PD cycle, you get a 2-hour certificate. So I'd request anyone who's looking for certificate, even please, show your interest in this. Click on the link, fill in the details, and we'll be happy to have that 1:1 session. Show you the use case of the platform in your context, and how to get that certificate even. Right, so we can see some of the questions that are popped up in the chat.
I think the major questions are concerning classroom management.
Yeah.
So I think Edthena, the way it solves this problem is you can choose the option if classroom management is one of the area that is concerning you, and if you would like to work on it, you can choose classroom management. That's a goal for the cycle. And then as you move, it'll be asking for you to come up with the strategies to implement. And then with the strategy, you will implement it in the classroom. And the final stage, you will be in a position to gauge whether the strategy had worked out or not. Right? Most often what you can do is there are certain resources that is provided in the Edthena platform which can be used, which will be really helpful in terms of understanding how to manage the class, right? And for the people here who wants to learn more about that, like I would suggest the book like The First Days of School, as I mentioned earlier. That is a very important book if you're someone new to the profession, right? You can definitely refer that book. It talks about how to manage the class, right? In what ways you can do that, how to set routines and procedures, how can you set rules, and when can you have consequences. It's all given there. And as I mentioned earlier, you can set your goal in the Edthena platform as classroom management so that you complete the cycle to understand how your strategy has worked out. And if you like to work on it again, you can again use the same, a different cycle again to ensure that the classroom management strategy is effective. Any other questions?
Yeah, any other questions, please feel free to ask. Yes, you will get a certificate once you complete the free PD cycle. One cycle of that, you need to upload the video and do that cycle. You will definitely get that certificate once you complete that. Any other questions you have, you can unmute yourself. You can put your questions in the chat. You can directly talk to us. Now we have enabled for you to unmute yourself also.
And CBSE also talks about competency-based education, right? which is something which they will definitely would like all the schools to follow. And as we go by that, competency-based education talks about higher order thinking. So how can we ensure higher order thinking skills are actually implemented in the classroom? Right? In other words, it is called as active learning strategies, which again is one of the aspects which can be chosen using the Edthena platform, and you can work on that. That again is one of the goals that you can set, for which the resources are also available. Competency-based education. Right? Someone who has done B.Ed will be familiar with Bloom's taxonomy, higher order thinking skills. Any questions? Feel free to ask, or if you can put that in the chat box so that we can respond.
Yeah. Saima ma'am, yes, certificate for this session, not really, ma'am, but we are offering one free PD cycle. So that's the professional development cycle on the platform itself, where you upload the video and work through the coaching cycle. Once you have completed the coaching cycle, ma'am, then you will be able to get a certificate. So I would request, if you're interested in doing that, I would request you to fill in the form. Our representative will give you a call and set that up for you. There's a form link in the chat shared by my colleague. Yes. Anybody else has any other questions, please feel free to ask.
Right, and also for the leaders who have been part of the session, especially the new recruits, they have a hard time managing the class, right? Classroom management especially, because they're not adequately trained, and as a matter of fact, we don't have enough time to train them, right? So that's a challenge for us, right? And newcomers, new recruits, they find it hard to manage the class, and as a matter of fact, their tenure at the school is most often 1 year or 2 years at the max, right? Because they are normally given a textbook and asked to teach without adequate training. So, in what ways can Edthena help us to evaluate and reflect their performance as they go on to complete the cycle, the coaching cycle, right?
Absolutely, sir. Yeah.
Right. As a matter of fact, how to create learning objectives, in what way can we create learning objectives, right? So, competency-based education talks about higher order thinking, right? So we have to move from lower order thinking to higher order, right? So Bloom's taxonomy verbs are something that is really helpful in this, right? Which you talk about like identify, list, create, synthesize, analyze, evaluate. How to use these terms in the classroom context, right? This is something which teachers unfortunately are not familiar, right? But they can be trained, right? That's what in the earlier slide I've shared. In Singapore, they spend around 100 hours. Australia, the same. In US, it differs from 60 to 150 hours. That's the kind of training they give, right? In some of the Western countries, they have someone called as the instructional coach as well. They coach them, right? Most often the principals are the coach there, right? So we have Edthena, which can do that job, right? Any questions? Feel free to post that in the chat box.
And if you're interested to implement this in your school, in your classroom, uh, if you're interested to partner as a reseller, as an education consultant, happy to have that 1:1 chat. I would request you to fill in the form uh, that is there in the chat, and we'll definitely take that up.
And one of the cycle, as already mentioned by Dheeraj, you can try that out, see how it works.
A PDF of the entire program, you mean to say of this session? Sure, sure. We can do that. Yes.
Any other questions? Dheeraj will call it off.
Yeah, I think so. Let's do it. I think so. Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in, and hoping to hear from you further, and hopefully looking to implement this across your institution. Right. Thank you so much for joining in, and we'll be back again with a new session uh, with a similar product that we are launching with the collaboration of Edthena. It's a coaching product, and towards the end of this month, we will come with that. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day. Thank you for joining in.